we're back now. Juice, come over here. Okay. Okay, so the version of Hamlet we're gonna be reading is the modern version, as I'm not gonna struggle with his original version. And this is the one from like you could just find on SparkNotes, so yeah. Let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, the audio should be fine. So, Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Act 1, Scene 1. Bernardo and Francisco, two watchmen, enter. Who's there? No, who are you? Stop and identify yourself. Long live the king. Is that Bernardo? Yes, it's me. You've come right on time. The clock's just striking 12. Go home to bed, Francisco. Thanks for letting me go. It's barely cold out, and I'm depressed. Has it been a quiet night? I haven't even heard a mouse squeak. Well, good night. If you happen to see Horatio and Marcellus, who are supposed to stand guard with me tonight, tell them to hurry. I think I hear them. Stop. Who's there? Marcellus and Horatio enter. Friends of this country and servants of the Danish king. Good night to you both. Goodbye. Who's taking over the watch for you? Bernardo's taken my place. Good night. Francisco exits. Hello, Bernardo. Hello. Is Rito here too? More or less. Welcome, Rito. Welcome, Marcellus. So tell us, do you see that thing again tonight? I haven't seen anything. Rito says we're imagining it and won't let himself believe anything about this horrible thing that we've seen twice now. That's why I've begged him to come on our ship tonight, so that if the ghost appears, he can see what we see and speak to it. Oh, nonsense. It's not going to appear. Sit down for a while. I'll tell you again the story you don't want to believe about what we've seen 2 nights now. Well, let's sit down and listen to Bernardo tell us. Last night, when that star to the west of the North Star had traveled across the night sky to that point where it's shining now, at 1 o'clock, Marcellus and I, the ghost enters. Quiet! Shut up! It's come here, it's come again. Looking just like the dead king. To Harito, you're well educated, Harito. Say something to it. Doesn't he look like the king, Harito? Very much so. It's terrifying. It wants us to speak to it. Ask it something, Harito. What are you, that you walk out so late at night, looking like the dead king of Denmark, when he dressed for battle? My God, I order you to speak. It looks like you've offended it. Look, it's going away. Stay! Speak, speak, I order you to speak. The ghost exits. It's gone. It won't answer now. What's going on, Harito? You're pale and trembling. You agree now that we're not imagining this, don't you? What do you think about it? I swear to God, if I hadn't seen this with my own eyes, I'd never believe it. Doesn't it look like the king? Yes, as much as you look like yourself. The king was wearing exactly this armor when he fought the king of Norway, and the ghost frowned just like the king did once when he attacked the Poles, traveling on the ice and sleds. It's weird. It's happened like this twice before, always at this exact time. He stalks by us at our post like a warrior. I don't know exactly how to explain this, but I have a general feeling this means bad news for our country. Alright, let's sit down and discuss that question. Somebody tell me why the strict schedule of guards has been imposed, and why so many bronze cannons are being manufactured in Denmark, and so many weapons are bought from aboard, and why the shipbuilders are so busy they don't even rest on Sunday. Something about to happen that warrants working this night and day? Who can explain this to me? I can. Or at least I could describe the rumors. As you know, our late king, whom we just now saw as a ghost, was the great rival of Fortinbras, king of Norway. Fortinbras dared him to a battle. In that fight, our courageous Hamlet, or at least that's how we thought of him, killed old King Fortinbras, who, on the basis of a valid legal document, surrendered all his territories along with his life to his conqueror. If our king had lost, he would have had to do the same. But now, old Fortinbras' young son, also called Fortinbras, he is bold, but unproven, has gathered a bunch of thugs from the lawless outskirts of the country for some food. They're eager to take on the tough enterprise of securing the lands that elder Fortinbras lost. As far as I understand, that's why we're posted here tonight, and why there's such a commotion in Denmark lately. I think that's exactly right. That explains why the ghost of the late king would haunt us now, since he caused these wars. A ghost is definitely something to worry about. In the high and mighty Roman Empire, just before the Emperor Julius Caesar was assassinated, corpses rose out of their graves and ran through the streets of Rome speaking gibberish. There were shooting stars and blood mixed in with the morning dew, and threatening signs of the face of the sun. The moon, which controls the tides of the sea, was so ellipsed it almost went completely out. And we've had similar omens of terrible things to come, as if heaven and earth have joined together to warn us what's going to happen. The ghost enters. Wait, look! It has come again! I'll meet it if it's the last thing I do. Stay here, your hallucination. The ghost spreads his arms. If you have a voice and can make sound, speak to me. If there is any good deed I can do that will bring you peace and me honor, speak to me. If you have some secret knowledge of your country's sad fate, which might be avoided if we knew about it, then please speak. Or if you got some buried treasure somewhere, which they say often makes ghosts restless, then tell us about it. Stay and speak. A rooster crows. Keep it from leaving, Malleus. Should I strike it with my spear? Yes, if it doesn't stand still. It's over here. There it is. The ghost exits. It's gone. We were wrong to threaten it with violence since it looks so much like a king. Besides, we can't hurt it any more than we can hurt the air. Our attack was stupid, futile, and wicked. I was about to say something when the rooster crowed. And then it acted startled, like a guilty person caught by the law. I've heard that the rooster wakens the god of day with its trumpet-like crowing. It makes all wandering ghosts, wherever they are, hurry back to the hiding places. You just seen proof of that. Yes. It faded away when the rooster crowed. Some people say that just because Christmas. Some people say that just before Christmas, the rooster crows all night long, so that no ghost dares go wandering, and the night is safe. The planets have no sway over us. Fairy spells don't work, and witches can't bewitch us. That's how holy that night is. Yes, I've heard the same thing and sort of believe it, but look, morning is breaking beyond that hill in the east, turning the sky red. Let's interrupt our watch and go tell young Hamlet what we've seen tonight. I'm sure this ghost that's so silent with us will speak to him. Don't you agree that we owe it to him to tell him about this, out of duty and love? Let's do it. I know where we'll find him this morning. They exit. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, so Sparkles changes so much that they blocked out the English version, the modern version, without paying for it. So I'm looking for a different site. Okay, here we go. I found the PDF version. Okay. So, Act 1, Scene 2. Claudius, the King of Denmark, enters, along with Gertrude, the Queen, Hamlet, Polonius' son, Tears, and daughter Ophelia, and lords who wait on the king. Although I still have fresh memories of my brother, the elder Hamlet's death, and though it was proper to mourn him throughout our kingdom, life still goes on. I think it's wise to mourn him while also thinking about my own well-being. Therefore, I've married my former sister-in-law, the Queen, with mixed feelings of happiness and sadness. I know that in marrying Gertrude, I am only doing what all of you have wisely advised all along, for which I thank you. Now, down to business. You all know what's happening. Young Fortinbras underestimated my strength, or imagining that the death of the king has thrown my country into turmoil. Dreams of getting the better of me, and never stops pestering me with demands that I surrendered the country his father lost to the elder Hamlet, my dead brother-in-law. So much for Fortinbras. Ultimate and Cornelius entered. Now, hear what needs to be done. I've written to Fortinbras' uncle, the present head of Norway, an old, bedridden man who knows next to nothing about his nephew's plans. I've told the uncle to stop those plans, which he has the power to do, since all the troops assembled beyond Fortinbras are Norwegian, and thus under the uncle's control. I'm giving the job of delivering this letter to you, good Cornelius, and you, Ultimand. Your business in Norway will be limited to this task. He gives him a paper. Now, goodbye. Show your loyalty by leaving quickly rather than with elaborate speeches. We'll do our duty to you, and that and everything else. I have no doubt you will. Goodbye. Cornelius and Ultimand exit. And now, Patris, what do you have to tell me? You have a favor you to ask of me. What is it? Latrius, you'll never waste your words when talking to the King of Denmark. What could you ever ask for that I wouldn't give you? Your father and the Danish throne are as close as the mind and the heart, or the hand and the mouth. What would you like, Latrius? My lord, I want your permission to go back to France, which I left to come to Denmark for your coronation. I confess, my thoughts are on France. Now that my duty is done, please let me go. Do you have your father's permission? What does Cornelius say? My son has worn me down by asking me so many times. In the end, I gingerly consented. I beg you, let him go. In that case, leave when you like. Buttress and spend your time wherever you wish. I hereby grant your request, and hope you have a good time. And now, Hamlet, my nephew, my son. Too many family ties there for me. Why are you still so gloomy, with a cloud hanging over you? That's not you, sir. Your song is out in the sun. My dear Hamlet, stop wearing these black clothes and be friendly to the king. You can't spend your whole life with your eyes to the ground remembering your noble father. It happens all the time. What lives must die, eventually, passing to eternity. Yes, mother, it happens all the time. So why does it seem so particular to you? Seem, mother? No, it is. I don't know what you mean by seem, neither by black clothes, my dear mother, nor my heavy sighs, nor my weeping, nor my downcast eyes, nor any other display of grief can show what I really feel. It's true that all these things seem like grief, since a person could use them to fake grief if he wanted to, but I've got more real grief inside me than you could ever see on the surface. These clothes are just a hint of it. Hamlet, you are so sweet. And such a good son to mourn your father like this. But you have to remember that your father lost his father. He lost his father before him, and every time, each son has had to mourn his father for a certain period. But overdoing it is just stubborn. It's not manly. It's not what God wants, and it betrays a vulnerable heart and an ignorant and weak mind. Since we know that everyone must die sooner or later, why should we take it to heart? You've committed a crime against heaven, against the dead, and against nature. And it's irritation out, since the truth is that all fathers must die. Please give up this useless mourning of yours. Start thinking of me as your new father. Because everyone knows that you are the man closest to the throne, to this throne, and I love you just as much as any father loves his son. And your plans for going back to Wittenberg are not what I want. I'm asking you now to stay here in my company as the #1 member of my court, my nephew, and now my son too. Please answer my prayers, Hamlet, and stay with us. Don't go back to Wittenberg. I'll obey you as well as I can, ma'am. That's the right answer. It shows your love. Stay in Denmark like us. My dear wife, come, Hamlet's agreeing to stay. It makes me happy. And every merry toast I'll drink today will be heard as far as the clouds overhead. My drinking will be echoed in the heavens. Let's go. Trumpets play. Everyone except Hamlet exits. I wish my dirty flesh could melt away into the vapor, or that God had not made a law against suicide. Oh God, how tired, stale, and pointless life is to me. Damn it, it's like a garden that no one's taking care of, and that's growing wild. Only nasty weeds grow in it now. I can't believe it's come to this. My father's only been dead for 2 months? No, not even 2. Such an excellent king, as superior to my uncle, as a good as a god is to a beast, and so loving towards my mother that he kept the wind from blowing too hard on her face. Oh God, do I have to remember that? She would hang on to him, and the more she was with him, the more she wanted to be with him. She couldn't get enough of him. Yet even so, within a month of my father's death, I don't even want to think about it. Oh woman, you are so weak. Even before she had broken in the shoes she wore to his funeral, crying like crazy, even an animal would have mourned its mate longer than she did. There, she was marrying my uncle, my father's brother. He was about as much like my father as I'm like Hercules. Less than a month after my father's death, even before the tears on her cheeks had dried, she remarried. Oh, so quick to jump into a bed of incest. That's not good, and no good can come of it either. But my heart must break in silence, since I can't mention my feelings aloud. Arita, Marcellus, and Bernardo enter. Hello, sir. Nice to see you again, Arito. That is your name, right? That's me, sir. Still your respectful servant. Not my servant, but my friend. I'll change that name for you. But what are you doing so far from Wittenberg, Harito? Oh, Marcellus. Hello, sir. Okay, so he's saying this to Marcellus. So nice to see you. To Bernardo. Hello, sir. To Harito. But what are you doing away from Hernesburg, Harito? I felt like skipping school, sir. I wouldn't allow your enemies to say that. And I won't believe it from you. I know you never skip school. What are you doing here in Elsinore? I'll teach you to drink hard by the time you leave. Sir, we come to see your father's funeral. Please, don't make fun of me. I think you come to see my mother's wedding instead. No, sir. It's true. It came soon after. It was all about saving a few bucks, Harito. The leftovers from this funeral dinner made a convenient wedding banquet. Oh, I'd rather have met my fiercest enemy in heaven, Harito, than have lived through that terrible day. My father. I think I see my father. Where, sir? In my imagination, Harito. I saw him once. He was an admirable king. He was a great human being. He was perfect in everything. I'll never see the likes of him again. Sir, I think I saw him last night. Saw who? Your father, sir. The dead king. The king? My father? Don't get too excited yet, sir. Just listen carefully while I tell you the amazing thing I saw, with these gentlemen as witness. For God's sake, let me hear it. After midnight, for 2 nights running, these two guards, Marcellus and Bernardo, saw a figure that looks very much like your father, in full armor from head to toe. It just appeared before them and marched past them with slow dignity 3 times, a staff's distance from their amazed eyes, while they turned, quaking with fear and too shocked to speak. They told me all about this, so on the 3rd night I agreed to come stand guard with them, to see for myself. It happened again, just as they had described. I knew your father. This ghost looked so much like him, as my 2 hands are like each other. But where did this happen? On the platform where we stand guard, sir. Didn't you talk to it? I did, sir, but it didn't answer me. It raised its head once, as if it was about to speak, but just then the rooster started crowing, and then the ghost vanished from sight. That's very strange. I swear to God it's true, sir. We thought you ought to know about it. Yes, I should know, but it disturbs me. Are you on duty again today? Tonight? Yes, sir. It was armed, you say? Armed, sir. From head to toe? Yes, from top to bottom, sir. So, you couldn't see his face then? Oh yes, we could, sir. He had his helmet visor up. Was he frowning? He looked more sad than angry. Was he pale or flushed or red-skinned? Very pale, sir. Did he stare at you? The whole time? I wish I'd been there. You would have been very shocked. I'm sure I would have. Did it stay a long time? About as long as it would take someone to count slowly to 100. No, longer than that. Not the time I saw it. His beard was gray, right? It was just like in real life. Dark brow with silvery whiskers in it. I'll stand guard with you tonight. Maybe he'll come again. I bet it will. If it looks like my good father, I'll speak to it. Even if hell itself opens up and tells me to be quiet, I ask you, if you kept this a secret, keep doing so. What happens tonight, don't talk about it. I'll return the favor. So goodbye for now. I'll see you on the guard platform between 11 and 12 tonight. We will do our duty to you, sir. Give me your love instead, as I give you mine. Goodbye. Everyone except Hamlet exits. My father's ghost, armed? Something's wrong. I suspect some foul play. I wish the night were here already. Until then, I have to remain calm. Bad deeds will be revealed, no matter how people try to hide them. Hamlet exits. Letrus and his sister Ophelia enters. My belongings are on the ship already. Goodbye. And, my dear sister, as long as the winds are blowing and ships are sailing, let me hear from you. Right. Do you doubt that right? As for Hamlet and his attentions to you, just consider it a big flirtation. A temporary phase of a hot-blooded youth. It won't last. It's sweet, but his affection will fade after a minute. Not a second more. No more than a minute? Try to think of it like this, anyway. When a youth grows into a man, he doesn't just get bigger in his body, his responsibilities grow too. He may love you now, and may have only the best intentions, but you have to be on guard. Remember that he belongs to the royal family, and his intentions don't matter that much. He's a slave to his family obligations. He can't simply make personal choices for himself the way common people can, since the whole country depends on what he does. His choices has to agree with what the nation wants. So if he says he loves you, you should be wise enough to see that his words only mean as much as the state of Denmark allows them to mean. Then think about how shameful it would be for you to give in to his seductive talk and surrender your treasure chest to his greedy hands. Watch out, Ophelia. Just keep your love under control and don't let yourself become a target of his lust. Simply exposing your beauty to the moon at night is risky enough. You don't have to expose yourself to him. Even good girls sometimes get a bad reputation. Worms ruin flowers before they blossom. Baby blooms are more susceptible to disease, so be careful. Fear will keep you safe. Young people often lose their self-control even without any help from others. I'll keep your words of wisdom close to my heart, but my dear brother, don't be like a bad priest who fails to practice what he preaches, showing me the steep and narrow way to heaven, while you follow on the primrose path of sin. Don't worry, I won't. Polonius enters. I've been here too long, and here comes father. What good luck to have him bless my leaving not once, but twice. You're still here? Shame on you. Get on board. The wind is filling your ship's sail, and they're waiting for you. Here, I give you my blessing again. Just try to remember a few rules of life. Don't say what you're thinking, and don't be too quick to act on what you think. Be friendly to people, but don't overdo it. Once you tested out your friends and found them trustworthy, hold on to them, but don't waste your time shaking hands with every new guy you meet. Don't be quick to pick a fight, but once you're in one, hold your own. Listen to many people, but talk to few. Hear everyone's opinions, but reserve your judgment. Spend all you can afford on clothes, but make sure they're quality, not flashy, since clothes make the man. Which is doubly true in France. Don't borrow money and don't lend it, since when you lend to a friend, you often lose the friendship as well as the money. And borrowing turns a person into a spendthrift. And above all, be true to yourself. Then you won't be false to anyone else. Goodbye, son. I hope my blessing will help you absorb what I've said. I humbly say goodbye to you, father. Now go. The time is right. Your servants are waiting. Goodbye, Ophelia. Remember what I've told you. It's locked away in my memory, and you've got the key. Goodbye. Butcheress exits. What did he tell you, Ophelia? Something about Hamlet. Good thing he did, by God. I've heard Hamlet spending a lot of time alone with you recently, and you made yourself quite available to him. If things are the way people tell me they are, and they're only telling me this to warn me, then I have to say, you're not conducting yourself with the self-restraint a daughter of mine should show. What's going on between you two? Tell me the truth. He offered me a lot of affection lately. Affection? That's nothing. You're talking like some innocent girl who doesn't understand the ways of the world. Do you believe his offers, as you call them? I don't know what to believe, father. Then I'll tell you. Believe that you are a foolish little baby for believing these offers are something real. Offer yourself more respect, or not to beat this word to death. You'll offer me the chance to be a laughingstock. Father, He's always talked about love in an honorable fashion. Yes, fashion. It's just a word. A passing whim. Go on. And he's made the holiest vows to me to back up what he says. Those vows are just traps for stupid birds. I know when a man is on fire, he'll swear anything, but when a heart's on fire, it gives out more life than heat, and the fire will be out even before he's done making his promises. Don't mistake that for true love. From now on, spend a little less time with him and talk to him less. Maybe yourself a precious comedy. Remember that Hamlet is young and has a lot more freedom to fool around than you do. In short, Ophelia, don't believe his love vows, since they're like flashy men who wear nice clothes to lead a woman into a filthy act. To put it plainly, don't waste your time with Hamlet. Do as I say. Now come along. I'll do as you say, father. They exit. Act 1, Scene 4. Hamlet, Harito, and Marcellus enter. The air is biting cold. Yes, definitely nippy. What time is it? A little before 12, I think. No, it's just after 12. I heard the clock strike. Really? Well, I didn't hear it, so it's nearly the time when the ghost likes to appear. Trumpets play off stage and 2 cannons are fired. What does that mean, sir? The king is staying up all night drinking and dancing. As he guzzles down his German wine, the musicians make a ruckus to celebrate his draining another cup. Is that a tradition? Yes, it is. But though I was born here, I would consider that tradition part of my heritage. I think it would be better to ignore it than practice it. Other countries criticize us for our loud partying. They call us drunks and insult our noble titles, and our drunkenness does distract from our achievements, as great as they are, and lessens our reputation. It's just like what happens to certain people who have some birth defect, which they are not responsible for, since nobody chooses how he's born. Or some weird habit or compulsion that changes them completely. It happens sometimes that one little defect in those people, as wonderful and talented as they may be, will make them look completely bad to other people. A tiny spot of evil casts doubt on their good qualities and ruins their reputation. The ghost enters. Look, sir, here it comes. Oh, angels, protect us. Rather you're a good spirit or a cursed demon. Rather you bring heavenly breezes, a blast of hellfire. Rather your intentions are good or evil. You look so strange, I want to talk to you. I'll call you Hamlet Senior, King, Father, Royal Dane. Answer me. Don't drive me crazy with curiosity, but tell me why you church buried bones have burst out of their coffin, and why your tomb, where we quietly buried you, have opened up its heavily marbled jaws to spit you out again. What could it mean that you have put on your armor again, you corpse, and have come back to look at the moon, making the night terrifying and staring as human with supernatural fears? Why? What do you want from us? What should we do? The ghost motions for Hamlet to come with it. It wants you to go off with it, as if it wants to tell you something alone. looks how politely it's pointing you to a place that's farther away. But don't go. Definitely not. It's not going to speak, so I'll follow. Don't do it, sir. Why? What's the danger? I don't value my life one bit. And as for my soul, how can the ghost endanger that? Since, as immortal as the ghost is, look, it's waving me over again. I'll follow it. What if it tempts you to jump into the sea, sir? Or to the terrifying cliff that overhangs the water, where it takes on some other horrible form that drives you insane? Think about it. The edge of the sea makes people feel despair, even at the best of times. All that I have to do is look into its depths, and hear its roar far below. It's still waving to me. Go ahead, have follow. You're not going, sir. Marcellus and Horatio try to hold Hamlet back. Let go of me. Calm down, you're not going anywhere. It's my fate calling me. Every nerve in my body is now as tough as steel. The ghost is still waving me over. Let me go, gentlemen. He draws his sword. I swear, if anyone holds me back, I'll make a ghost of him. I say, get away. Go ahead. I'll follow you. The ghost and Hamlet exit. His imagination is making him crazy. Let's follow them. It's not right to obey his orders, to let him go alone. Go ahead and follow him. What does all this mean? Where will it all end? Oh. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. The Exisel? Well, anyway, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. I am a virtual digigirl. I am a digital entity. I'm the writer. Right now, we are reading Hamlet. Oh, so okay. And let me just... Oh, so you're reading as well. What were you reading? So, how was your stream? Did you guys have fun? Oh, nice. I never read that, but it looks interesting. Actually, let me look that up. Hold on. So you had a good stream. That's good. Just give me a minute. Let me drink something before I start reading again. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to give you a follow.
Adventure awaits! Huzzah!
And thank you so much for becoming a cyber citizen. Welcome to the kingdom. Oh, thank you.
Adventure awaits! Huzzah!
Okay, so we were still on Act 1, Scene 4. Actually, we're towards the end of that, so we're gonna be starting Act 1, Scene 5, like in a couple lines, actually. It means that something is rotten in the state of Denmark. If that's true, we should let God take care of it. No, let's follow him. They exit. Act 1, Scene 5. The ghost and Hamlet enter. Where are you taking me? Speak. I am not going any farther. Listen to me. I will. The hour has almost come when I have to return to the horrible flames of purgatory. Oh, poor ghost. Don't pity me. Just listen carefully to what I have to tell you. Speak. I'm ready to hear you. You must be ready for revenge too when you hear me out. What? I am the ghost of your father, doomed for a certain period of time to walk the earth at night, while during the day I'm trapped in the fires of purgatory until I'm done penance for my past sins. If I weren't forbidden to tell you the secrets of purgatory, I would tell you stories that would slice through your soul, freeze your blood, make your eyes jump out of their sockets, and your hair stand on ends like corcatine quills. But mortals like you aren't allowed to hear this description of the afterlife. Listen, listen, if you ever loved your poor dear father. Oh God, take revenge for his horrible murder, that crime against nature. Murder? His horrible murderers, always horrible. But this one is especially horrible, weird, and unnatural. Hurry and tell me about it so I can take revenge right away, faster than a person falls in love. I'm glad you're eager. You'll have to be as lazy as a weed on the shores of Left not to get riled up here. Now listen, Hamlet. Everyone was told that a poisonous snake bit me when I was sleeping in the orchard, but in fact, that's a lie. That fooled everyone in Denmark. You should know, my noble son, the real snake that stung your father is now wearing his crown. I knew it. My uncle? Yes, and seductive, adulterous animal, with his clever words and fancy gifts, he seduced my seemingly virtuous queen, persuading her to give in to his lust. They were evil words and gifts to seduce her like that. Oh, Hamlet, how far she fell! She went from me, who loved her with a dignity and devotion that suits a legitimate marriage, to a wretch whose natural gifts were poor compared to mine. But just as you can't corrupt a truly virtuous person, no matter how you try, the opposite is also true. A lustful person like her can satisfy herself in a heavenly unison and then move on to a garbage. But hang on, I think I smell the morning air. So let me be brief here. Your uncle snuck up to me while I was sleeping in the orchard, as I always used to do in the afternoon. He poured a vial of henbane poison into my ear. That poison that moves like quicksilver through the veins. It cradles the blood, which is just what it did to me. It broke out in a scaly rash that covered my smooth skin with a revolting crust. And that's how my brother robbed me of my life, my crown, and my queen all at once. He cut me off in the middle of a sinful life. I had no choice. I had no chance to repent my sins and receive last rites. Oh, it's horrible, horrible, so horrible. If you are human, don't stand for it. Don't let the Danish king's bed be a nest of incense. But however you go about your revenge, don't corrupt your mind or do any harm to your mother. Leave her to God and her own guilt. Now, goodbye. The glowworm's light is beginning to fade, so morning is near. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Remember me. The ghost exits. Ah, all you up in heaven and earth. What else? Shall I include hell as well? Damn it! Keep beating my heart and muscles. Don't grow old yet. Keep me standing. Remember you. Yes, you poor ghost. As long as I have any power of memory in this distracted head. Remember you. Yes, I'll wipe my mind clean of all trivial facts and memories and preserve only your commandment. There. Yes, by God. Oh, evil woman. Oh, you villain. Villain. You damned, smiling villain. Where is my notebook? That's a good idea for me to write down that one. That one can smile and be a villain. At least it's possible in Denmark. He writes, So, uncle, there you are. Now it's time to deal with the vow I made to my father. He said, Remember me. I swore I would. Marcellus and hurried to enter. Sir, sir, Lord Hamlet. Please, let him be all right. I am all right. Oh, ho, ho, sir. Oh, ho, ho, kid, come here. So how did it go, sir? What happened, sir? It was incredible. Oh, please, tell us, sir. No, you'll talk. I swear I won't, sir. I won't either, sir. All right, okay. But you promise you can keep a secret? Yes, I swear. Any villain in Denmark is going to be, well, a villain. You don't need a ghost returning from the grave to tell you that, sir. Yes, you're absolutely right. So, without further ado, the best thing to do now is probably just to shake hands and go our separate ways. You go and take care of your business, since everyone has some businesses to take care of, whatever it is worth. And I'll go and pray. You're talking in such a crazy way, sir. I'm sorry if I offended you. Yes, I'm very sorry. Oh, don't worry about it, sir. No offense taken. Ah, but there is, Rito. There is a lot of offense. As far Oh, as for this ghost we just saw, he's a real one. I could tell you that much. But regarding what happened between us, don't ask. I can't tell you. And now, my friends, my courageous and educated friends, do me one small favor. What is it, sir? Of course we will. Don't ever tell anyone what you've seen tonight. We won't, sir. No, you have to swear it. I swear to God I won't. Me too. I won't. I swear to God. Swear by my sword. But we already swore, sir. Yes, but swear by my sword this time. The ghost calls out from under the stage, swear. Haha. Is that what you say, kid? Are you down there, my man? Come on. You hear this guy down in the basement. Agree to swear. Tell us what to swear, sir. You swear never to mention what you've seen. Swear by my sword. The ghost from under the stage, swear. You're everywhere, aren't you? Maybe we should move. Come over here, gentlemen, and put your hand on my sword again. Swear by my sword you'll never mention what you heard. Ghost from under the stage, swear by his sword. You said it right, old mole. You're pretty busy down there in the dirt, aren't you? What a tunneler. Let's move again, my friends. My God, this is unbelievably strange. Then give it a nice welcome, as you would give to any stranger. There are more things in heaven and earth, Rito, than you've even dreamed of. But now listen to me. No matter how strangely I act, since I may find it appropriate to act a little crazy in the near future, you must never, ever let on, with a gesture of your hands or a certain expression on your face, that you know anything about what happened to me here tonight. You must never say anything like, ah yes, just as we suspected, or we could tell you a thing or two about him, or anything like that. Swear you won't. Ghost from under the stage, swear. Okay then, unhappy ghost, you can rest now. So gentlemen, I thank you heartily and with all my love, and I will pay you however I can someday. Let's go back to court together, but shh, please. No talking about this. There is so much out of whack in these times, and damn the fact that I'm supposed to fix it. Come on, let's go. They exit. Okay, and that was the end of Act 1. Okay, so now we're gonna read Act 2. This is Scene 1. Polonius enters with his servant, Reynold. Give him this money and these letters, Reynold. I will, sir. It would be wonderfully wise of you, my dear Reynold, to ask around about his behavior a little before you visit him. That's what I thought too, sir. Excellent, very good. Ask around and find out what Danish people are in Paris, who they are, where they live, and how much money they have, who their friends are. And if you find out in this general sort of questioning that they happen to know my son, you'll find out much more than if you ask specific questions about him. Just tell them you vaguely know Latterus, say something like, I'm a friend of his father and I sort of know him, or whatever. Do you get what I am saying, Reynold? Yes, very well, sir. You should say, I sort of known him, but not well. Is it the same, Fletcher's, who's a wild party animal? Isn't he the one who's always, and so on? Then just make up whatever you want. Of course, nothing so bad, but it would shame him. I mean, make up any story that sounds like your average young guy. The kind of trouble they get into. Like gambling, sir? That's right. Or drinking, swearing, fist fighting, visiting prostitutes. That kind of thing. But that would ruin his reputation. Oh no, not if you say it right. I don't want you to say he's a sex fiend. That's not what I want. Just mention his fault lightly. So they make him seem like a free spirit who's gone a little too far. But sir, why would he do this? You want to know? Yes, sir, I'd like to know. Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm quite proud of myself for coming up with this. As you talk with someone and hint about my son's faults and the little sins, you've watched his reputation, and if he's ever seen lecherous do any of these things, it will only be natural for him to agree with you, at which point he'll call you sir or my good friend, depending on who the person is, where he comes from, and so on. Yes, sir. And then he'll wait. What was I about to say? Good God, I was about to say something. What was I saying? It will be natural for him to agree with you. He'll call you sir, friend, etc. It will be natural for him to agree with you. Ah, yes, that's right. If he agrees, he'll say something like this. Yes, I know the gentleman you're referring to. I just saw him yesterday, or the other day, or wherever it is. You know, and there will be, and there he was gambling, or there he was totally wasted, or fighting with somebody about a tennis match, or going into a house of ill reputes. That means a whorehouse, you know, or whatever. Make sure the little lie brings out the truth. For doing this wisely and intelligently, indirectly, finding out things by roundabout means. That's how you'll find out that my son. That's how you'll find out what my son is up to in Paris. You get my point, don't you? Yes, I do, sir. God bless you. Have a safe trip. Thank you, sir. Don't forget to see what he's up to with your own eyes. Don't trust gossip. I will, sir. And I hope he's sending his music like he's supposed to. Got it, sir. Goodbye. Bernardo exits. Ophelia enters. Ophelia, what's the matter? Oh, father. I just had such a scare. From what? In God's name? Father, I was just up in my room sewing, when Hamlet came in with no hat on his head, his shirt unbuttoned, and his stockings dirty, undone, and down around his ankles. He was pale, as his undershirt and knees were knocking together. He looked so out of sorts, as if he just came back from hell. He came up to me. Is he crazy with love for you? I'm not sure, but I'm afraid he might be. What did he say? He grabbed me by the wrist and held me hard, then backed away at arm's length and just looked at me, staring at me like an artist about to paint my picture. He stayed like that a long time. Finally, after shaking my arm a little and jerking his head back and down 3 times, he sighed like it was his last breath. After that, he let me go. He left the room with his head turned back on me, finding his way out without looking, since his eyes were on me the whole time. Come with me. I'll go tell the king about this. This is definitely love craziness. Love is such a violent emotion that it makes people self-destruct as much as any strong emotion. I'm so sorry. Did you tell him anything that might have hurt his feelings lately? No, father, but I did what you told me to do and sent back his letters. I wouldn't have let him visit me. That's what made him crazy. I regret not observing him more closely before I told you to do that. I thought he was just toying with you and meant to ruin your reputation. Damn my suspicious thoughts. That's common for us old people to assume. We know more than we do. As for young people to be too wild and crazy. Come on, let's go see the king. We've got to discuss this matter, which could cause more trouble if we keep it secret than if we discuss it openly. They exit. Act 2, Scene 2. Children's play. Claudius and Gertrude enter with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern in attendance. Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I wanted to see you for a long time now, but I sent for you so hastily because I need your help right away. You probably heard about the change that came over Hamlet. That's the only word for it, since inside and out he's different from what he was before. I can't imagine what made him so unlike himself, other than his father's death, since you both grew up with him and are so familiar with his personality and behavior. I'm asking you to stay a while at court and spend some time with him. See if you can get Hamlet to have some fun and find out if there's anything in particular that's bothering him, so we can set about trying to fix it. Gentlemen, Hamlet's talked a lot about you, and I know there are no two men alive he's fond of. And if you'll be so good as to spend some time with us and help us out, you'll be thanked on a royal scale. Both you and the king might have ordered us to execute your command instead of asking us so politely. But we'll obey. Our services are entirely at your command. Thanks, Rosencrantz and worthy Guildenstern. Thanks, Guildenstern and worthy Rosencrantz. I beg you to pay a visit right away to my son, who's changed too much. Servants, take these gentlemen to see Hamlet. I hope to God we can make him happy and do him some good. Amen to that. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern exits, escorted by attendants. Polonius enters. The ambassadors are back from Norway, sir. Once again, you bring good news. Do I, sir? I assure you, Majesty. I am only doing my duty both to my God and my good king. And I believe unless this brain of mine is not so politically cunning as it used to be, and I found out why Hamlet's gone crazy. Tell me, I want very much to find out. Alright, but first let the ambassadors speak, then you can hear my news as dessert. Then be so kind as to show them in. Polonius exits. Gertrude, he says he found out the reason for your son's insanity. I doubt it's anything but the obvious reason. His father's dying in our quick marriage. Polonius enters with the ambassador, Voltiman and Cornelius. Well, We'll get to the bottom of it. Welcome, my good friend. Tell me, old man, and what's news from the King of Norway? Greetings to you too, your highness. As soon as we raised the matter, the king sent our messengers to stop his nephew's war preparations, which he originally thought were directed against Poland, but learned on closer examination were directed against you. He was very upset that Fortune had taken advantage of his being old and sick to deceive him, and he ordered Fortinbras' arrest. Fortinbras swore never to threaten Denmark again. The old king was so overjoyed by this promise that he gave young Fortinbras the annual income of 3,000 crowns and permission to lead his soldiers into Poland, asking you officially in his letter to allow his troops to pass through your kingdom on their way to Poland. He's assuring you of your safety. He gives Claudius a document. I like this news, and when I have time, I'll read this and think about how to reply. Meanwhile, thank you for your efforts. Go relax now. Tonight, we'll have dinner. Welcome back. Both Tatiana and Cornelius exit. Well, that turned out well in the end, sir and madam. To make grand speeches about what majesty is, what service is, or why day is day, night is night, and time is time, it's just a waste of a lot of days, nights, and time. Therefore, since the essence of wisdom is not talking too much, I'll get right to the point here. Your son is crazy. Crazy, I'm calling it, since how can you say what craziness is except to say that it's craziness? Well, that's another story. Please stick to the point. Madam, I'm doing nothing but sticking to the point. It's true he's crazy, and it's a shame it's true, and it's truly a shame he's crazy. But now I sound foolish, so I'll get right to the point.
Adventure awaits! Huzzah!
Radford, thank you so much for the follow. How are you today? I'm good. Right now we're on, oh, the cat fell. We're on Act 2, Scene 2 of Hamlet. No, it's fine. I was gonna drink something anyway. Okay, now if you agree Hamlet's crazy, then the next step is to figure out the cause of this effect of craziness. Here, I am reading the martyred version of it, and it is from like a PDF that I'm reading from. If you're able to pull that up. Now, if we agree Hamlet's crazy, then the next step is to figure out the cause of this effect of craziness. Or, I suppose I would say the cause of this defect, since this defective effect is caused by something. Wait, what? I was wondering where all the things and such were. Wait, I'm so confused. I'm not sure what you're saying. Okay. Since this effect is caused by something, this is what we must do. That's exactly what needs to be done. Think about it. I have a daughter. I have her until she gets married, who's given me this letter, considering it her duty. Listen and think about this. He reads a letter to the heavenly idol of my soul, the most beautified Ophelia. By the way, beautified sounds bad, sounds awful, sounds crude. It's a terrible use of the word, but I'll go on. He reads the letter, in her excellent white bosom, etc., etc. You don't need to hear all this stuff. Hamlet wrote this letter to Ophelia. Madam, please be patient. I'll read it to you. You may wonder if the stars are fire. You may wonder if the sun moves across the sky. You may wonder if the truth is a liar. But never would if I loved. Oh, Ophelia, I'm bad at poetry. I can't put my feelings into verse. But please believe I love you best. Oh, best of all, believe it. Yours forever, my dearest one. As long as I live, still chugging along, Hamlet. Dutifully and obediently, my daughter showed me this letter, and more like it. She told me all about how Hamlet had been courting her, all the details of where, and what he said, and when. And how did she react to all this? Sir, what is your opinion of me? I know you are loyal and honorable. I would like to prove to you that I am, but what would you have thought of me if I had kept quiet when I found out about this hot little love, which I noticed even before my daughter told me about it? My dear queen, what would you have thought of me if I had turned a blind eye to what was happening between Hamlet and my daughter? No, I had to do something, and so I said to my daughter, Lord Hamlet is a prince. He is out of your league. You have to end this. And then I gave her orders to stay away from him and not to accept any messages or little gifts from him. She did what I said. When she rejected Hamlet, he became sad and stopped eating, stopped sleeping, and got weak, got dizzy, and as a result lost his mind. And that's why he's crazy now, and all of us feel sorry for him. Do you think that's why Hamlet's crazy? It may be. It certainly may be. Has there ever been a time I'd really like to know when I definitely said something was true and it turned out not to be true? Not that I know of. Pointing to his head and shoulder. Chop my head off if I'm wrong. I'll follow the clues and uncover the truth, even if it's at the very center of Earth. What can we do to find out if it's true? Well, you know, he sometimes walks here in the lobby for 4 hours at a time. Yes, he does. When he's there next time, I'll send my daughter to see him. You and I will hide behind the arras and watch what happens. And if it turns out that Hamlet's not in love after all, and hasn't gone mad from love, then you can fire me from my court job and I'll go work on a farm. We'll try what you suggest. Hamlet enters, reading a book. Look how sadly he's coming in, reading his book. Go away, both of you. I'll speak to him now. Oh, please, let me. Claudius and Gertrude exit. How are you, Hamlet? Fine, thank you. Do you know who I am? Of course, you sell fish. No, not me, sir. In that case, I wish you were as good a man as a fish seller. Good, sir? Yes, sir. Only one man in 10,000 is good in this world. That's definitely true, my lord. Since, if the sun breeds maggots on a dead dog, kissing the corpse, by the way, do you have a daughter? I do indeed, my lord. And by all means, never let her walk in public. Recreation is a good thing, but if your daughter gets pregnant, look out, friend. To himself. Now, what does he mean by that? Still harping on my daughter, but he doesn't recognize me at first. He mistook me for a fish seller. He's far gone, but when I was young, I went crazy for love too. Almost as bad as this. I'll talk to him again. What are you reading, Your Highness? A lot of words. What is the subject? Between whom? I mean, what do the words say? Oh, just lies, sir. The sly reader says, "Hear that old man have gray beards. Their faces are wrinkled, their eyes full of gunk, and that they have no wisdom and weak thighs." Of course, I believe it all, but I don't think it's good manners to write it down, since you yourself, sir, would grow as old as I am, if you could only travel backwards like a crab. To himself. There's a method to his madness. To Hamlet. Will you step outside, my lord? Into my grave? Well, that's certainly out of this world, alright. To himself. His answers are so full of meaning sometimes. He has a way with words, as crazy people often do, and that same people don't have a talent for. I'll leave him now and arrange a meeting between him and my daughter. To Hamlet. My lord, I'll take my leave of you now. You can take anything from me that I care less about, except my life. Except my life. Except my life. Goodbye, my lord. To himself. Boring old fools. Rosencrantz, a golden stern, enters. You're looking for Lord Hamlet. He's right over there. Thank you, sir. Polonius exits. My lord. My dear sir. Ah, my good old friends, how are you? Goldenstern and Rosencrantz. Boys, how are you both doing? Oh, as well as anybody. Happy that we are not too happy. Lucky in being not too lucky. We're not exactly at the top of our luck. But you're not down and out either, are you? No, we're just somewhere in the middle, my lord. So you're around Lady Luck's waist? Yes, we're the privates in her army. Haha, so you got into her private parts. Of course, Lady Luck is such a slut. Anyway, what's up? Not much, my lord. Just that the world's become honest. In that case, the end of the world is approaching. But you're wrong. Let me ask you a particular question. What crimes have you committed to be sent here to this prison? Prison, my lord? Denmark's prison. Then I guess the whole world is one. Yes, quite a large one, with many cells and dungeons. Denmark being one of the worst. We don't think so, my lord. Well, then it isn't one to you. Since nothing is really good or bad in itself. It's all what a person thinks about. And to me, Denmark is a prison. That must be because you're so ambitious. It's too small for your large mind. Small? No, I could live in a walnut shell and feel like the king of the universe. Your problem is that I have bad dreams. Dreams are a sign of ambition, since ambition is nothing more than the shadow of a dream. But a dream itself is just a shadow. Exactly. In fact, I consider ambition to be so light and airy that it's only the shadow of a shadow. Then I guess beggars are the ones with bodies, while ambitious kings and heroes are just the shadows of beggars. Should we go inside? I seem to be losing my mind a bit. We are at your service, whatever you say. No. I will class you with my servants since, to be frank with you, my servants are terrible. But tell me, as my friend, what are you doing here at Elsinore? Visiting you, my lord. There's no other reason. Well then, I thank you, though I am such a beggar that even my things are not worth much. But was someone tell you to visit me, or was it just your whim on your own initiative? Come on, tell me the truth. What should we say, my lord? Anything you like, as long as it answers my question. You're sent for. You got a guilty look on your faces, which you're too honest to disguise. I know the king and queen sent for you. Why would they do that, my lord? That's what I want you to tell me. Let me remind you of our old friendship. Our youth spent together, the duties of our love for each other, and whatever else make you answer me straight. What do you think? To himself, I got my eye on you. To Golden Stern. If you care about me, you'll be honest with me. My lord, we were sent for. And I'll tell you why, so you won't have to tell me and give away any secrets you have with the king and queen. Recently, though, I don't know why, I've lost all sense of fun. Stopped exercising. The whole world feels sterile and empty. This beautiful canopy we call the sky, this majestic roof decorated with golden sunlight. Why, it's nothing more to me than disease-filled air. What a perfect invention a human is. How noble in his capacity to reason, how unlimited in thinking, how admirable in his shape and movement, how angelic in action, how godlike in understanding. There's nothing more beautiful. We surpass all other animals, and yet to me, what are we but dust? Men don't interest me, no woman neither, but you're smiling, so you must think they do. My lord, I wasn't thinking anything like that. So why do you laugh when I said that men don't interest me? I was just thinking that if people don't interest you, you'd be pretty bored by the actors on their way here. We crossed paths with a drama company just a while ago, and they're coming to entertain you. The one who plays the part of the king will be particularly welcome. I'll treat him like a real king. The adventurous knight will wave around his sword and shield. The lover will be rewarded for his signs. The crazy character can rant all he wants. The clown will make everybody laugh, and the lady character can say whatever's on her mind. Well, I'll stop the play. Which the trope it is. Attract the actors from the city, the ones you used to enjoy so much. What are they doing on the road? They made more money and got more attention in the city. But things have changed there, and it's easier for them on the road now. Are they as popular as they used to be when I lived in the city? Do they attract big audiences? Not like before. Why? Are they getting rusty? No, they're busy and as excellent as ever. The problem is that they have to compete with a group of children who yell out their lines and receive outrageous applause for it. These children actors are now in fashion, and they're so overtaken the public theaters that society types hardly come at all. They're so afraid of being mocked by the playwrights who write for the boys. What? You mean kid actors? Who takes care of them? Who plays their way? Oh wait, who pays their way? Will they stop working when their voices mature? Aren't the playwrights hurting them by making them upstage adult actors? Which they are going to grow up and become, unless of course they have trust funds. There's been a whole debate on the topic. For a while, no play was solid to the theaters without a big fight between the children playwrights and the actors playing adult roles. Are you kidding? Oh, there's been a lot of quarreling. And the boys are winning so far? Yes, they are, my lord. Little boys are carrying the whole theater on their backs, like Hercules carried the world. Actually, it's not so unusual when you think about it. My uncle is king of Denmark, and the same people who made fun of him while my father was still alive are now rushing to pay 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for miniature portraits of him. There is something downright unnatural about it, if a philosopher stopped to think about it. Trumpets play off stage announcing the arrival of the players. The actors are here. Gentlemen, welcome to Elsinore. Don't be shy, shake hands with me. If I'm going to welcome you, I have to go through all of these polite customs, don't I? And if we don't shake hands, when I act all nice to the players, it will seem like I'm happier to see them than you. You are very welcome here. But still, my uncle, father, and aunt, mother, I've got the wrong idea. It wants sense, my lord. I'm only crazy sometimes. And other times I know what's what. Polonius enters. Gentlemen, I hope you are well. Listen, Goldstern, and you too, Rosencrantz. Listen as close as you can. He gestures towards Polonius. This big baby is still in diapers. Yes, the second time around since, as they say, old people become children again. Whispering to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I bet he's coming to tell me about the actors. Just watch. To Polonius. Yes, right, sir. That happened on Monday morning. My lord, I have news for you. My lord, I have news for you, friend. Rosarus was an actor in ancient Rome. The actors have arrived, my lord. Yawn, snore. I swear, each actor arrived on his ass. They are the best actors in the world. Either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral comedy, historical pastoral, tragical historical, tragical comical historical, one-act plays, or long poems. The tragic playwrights, Vanessa, is not too heavy for them to handle, nor is the comic writer, Plutus, too light. For formal plays or freer dramas, these are the best actors around. Oh, Jephthah, judge of ancient Israel, what a treasure you had. What treasure did he have, my lord? Well, sings, one fine daughter and no more, whom he loved more than anything. Still talking about my daughter, I see. Ain't I right? Jephthah's old man. If you're calling me Jephthah's, my lord, I do have a daughter I love more than anything else. No, that's not logical. What is logical then, my lord? Why? As if by chance God knows, and then you know. It happens as you expect. As you expect. If you want to know more, you can refer to the popular song, because now I have to stop. The players enter. Welcome, welcome to all of you. He turns to one of the actors. Oh, you, I'm glad to see you. Turns back to all of them. Welcome, my good friends. Turns to another actor. Oh, it's you. You've grown a beard since I saw you last. You're going to put a beard on me too. Turns to actor dressed as a woman. Oh, hello, my young lady friend. You've grown as much as the height of a pair of platform shoes, at least. I hope your voice hasn't changed yet. To the whole company. All of you are most welcome here. We'll get right to business. First, a speech. Come on, give us a little speech to what I advertise. A passionate speech, please. Which speech, my lord? I heard you recite a speech for me once that was never acted out. Or, if it was performed only once, since the play was not popular, like caviar for a slob who couldn't appreciate it. But the critics and I found it to be an excellent play, with well-ordered scenes that were clever but not fancy. I remembered one critic said there was no vulgar language to spice up the dialogue, and showing off on playwright part. The critics called it an excellent play containing things to reflect upon, as well as sweet music to enjoy. I loved one speech in particular. It was when Anna was told Dido about Hiram's murder. If you happen to remember this scene, begin at line, let me see, how does it go? The rugged Hiram strong as a tiger. No, that's wrong. It begins like this. Savage, perhaps, whose black armor was as dark plains and was like the night when he crouched inside the Trojan horse, has now smeared his dark armor with something worse from head to foot. He's now covered in red, decorated horribly with the blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, and sons. The blood is baked to a paste by fires beset in the streets, fire that lends a terrible light to his horrible murders, boiling with the anger and fire, and coated thick with hard-baked blood, its eyes glowing like rubies, the hellish Pyrrhus goes looking for grandfather Priam. Sir, take it from there. My God, that was well done, my lord, with the right accent and a good ear. Soon he found Priam falling in his battle against the Greeks. His old sword, which Priam cannot wield anymore, lies where it fell. An unfair opponent, Priam rushes at Priam, and his rage he misses. In his rage he misses. But the wind created by his sword is enough to make the weakened old man fall. Just then the city of Ilium, as if feeling his fatal blow to its ruler, collapsed in flames, and the crash captured Priam's attention. His sword, which was falling into Priam's white-haired head, seemed to hang in the air. Priam stood there like a man in a painting, doing nothing. But just as a raging thunderstorm is often interrupted by a moment of silence. And then soon after, the region is split apart by dreadful thunderclaps. In the same way, after Priam paused, his newly awakened fury set him to work again, when the Cyclops were making unbreakable armor. For the god of war, their hammers never fell so mercilessly as Priam's bloody sword now falls on Priam. Let's get out of here. Lady Luck, you whore, all you gods, should come together to rob her of her powers, break all the spoken on her heel of fortune, and send it rolling down the hills of heaven into the depths of hell. This speech is going on too long. We have the barber trim it later, along with your beard. Please continue, players. This old man only likes the dancing or the sex scenes. He sleeps through all the rest. Go on, come to the part about Hecuba. But the sadness had seen the muffled queen. The muffled queen? That's good. The muffled queen is good. Running back and forth, spraying the flames with her tears. A cloth on that head where a crowd had recently sat in a blanket instead of a robe wrapped around her body, which has withered from childbearing. Anyone seeing her in such a state, no matter how spiteful he was, would have cursed Lady Luck for bringing her down like that. And if the gods have seen her while she watched, her chopped her husband into bits. The terrible cry she uttered would have made all the eyes in heaven burn with hot tears, unless the gods don't care at all about human affairs. Look how flushed the actor is, with tears in his eyes. Alright, that's enough, please. Very fine. I'll have you perform the rest of it soon. My lord, will you make sure the actors are made comfortable? Make sure you're good to them, since what they say about us later will go down in history. And it would be better to have a bad epitaph on our grave than have their ill will while we're alive. My lord, I will give them all they deserve. Good heavens, man, give them more than that. If you pay everyone what they deserve, would anyone ever escape a whipping? And treat them with honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more your generosity is worth. Lead them inside. Come, everyone. Follow him, friends. We'll watch a whole play tomorrow. My friend, he performed the murder of Gonzago? Yes, my lord. Then we'll see that tomorrow night. By the way, if I were to compose an extra speech of 20 to 16 lines and stick it into the play, you could learn it by heart for tomorrow, right? Yes, my lord. Very well. Follow that gentleman now, and be careful not to make fun of him. Polonius and the players exit. My good friends, I'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to Elsinore. Yes, my lord. Ah, yes. Goodbye to you both. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern exit. Now I'm alone. Oh, what a mean lowlife I am. It's awful that this actor could force his soul to feel made of feelings in a work of make-believe. He grew pale and shed real tears, became overwhelmed, his voice breaking with feeling, and his whole being even meeting the needs of his act, and all for nothing, for Hecuba. What is Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he would weep for her? Just imagine what he would do if he had the cause for feelings that I do. He would drown the stage with tears and burst audience ears with his terrible words. Drive the guilt specters crazy, terrify the innocent ones, confuse the arrogant ones, and astound absolutely everyone's eyes and ears. What do I, a grim and uncourageous rascal, do? Mope around like a dreamer, not even bothering with plans for revenge? And I could say nothing at all, on behalf of the king whose dear life was stolen. Am I a coward? Is there anyone out there who call me villain and slap me hard, pull off my beard, pinch my nose, call me the worst liar? By God, if someone would do that to me, I'd take it, because I'm a lily-livered man. Otherwise, I would have flatten up the local vultures with the intestines of what low-life king a long time ago. Bloody, inhumane villain. Remorseless, treacherous, sex-obsessed, unnatural villain. Ah, revenge! What an ass I am. I'm so damn brave. My dear father's been murdered, and I've been urged to seek revenge by heaven and hell, and yet all I could do is stand around cursing like a whore in the streets. Damn it. I need to get myself together here. I've heard that guilty people watching a play have been so affected by artistry of the scene that they are driven to confess their crimes out loud. Murder has no tongue, but miraculously it still finds a way to speak. I'll have these actors perform something like my father's murder in front of my uncle. I'll watch my uncle. I'll probe his conscience and see if he flinches, if he becomes pale. I know what to do. The ghost I saw may be the devil, and the devil has the power to assume a pleasing disguise, and so he may be taking advantage of my weakness and sadness to bring about my damnation. I need better evidence than the ghost to work with. The place the thing to uncover the conscience of the king. Hamlet exits. Claudius, Gertrude, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern enters. And you can't put your heads together and figure out why he's acting so dazed and confused, ruining his peace and quiet with such dangerous displays of lunacy? He admits he feels confused, but refuses to say why. And he's not exactly eager to be interrogated. He's very sly and gets us around our questions when we try to get him to talk about how he feels. Did he treat you well when you saw him? Yes, in a very gentlemanly way, but it seems like he had to force himself to be nice to us. He didn't ask questions, but answered ours at length. Did you try tempting him with some entertainment? Madam, some actors happened to cross our paths on the way here. We told Hamlet about them, and they seemed to do him good. They are here at the court now, and I believe they've been told to give a performance for him tonight. It's true. He asked me to beg you both to attend. It makes me very happy to hear he's so interested. Gentlemen, please try to sharpen his interest even more, and let this play do him some good. We will, my lord. Dear Gertrude, please give us a moment alone. We've secretly arranged for Hamlet to come here so that he can run into Ophelia. Her father and I, justly acting as spies, will hide in the room and observe Hamlet's behavior to determine whether it's love that's making him suffer. Yes, he'll go. As for you, Ophelia, I hope that your beauty is the reason for Hamlet's insane behavior, just as I hope your virtues will return him to normal someday, for the good of both of you. I hope so too, madam. Gertrude exits. Ophelia, come here. Your Majesty, we will hide. Read from this prayer book so it looks natural that you're all alone. Come to think of it, this happens all the time. People act devoted to God to mask their bad deeds. Right now. How right he is. His words whip up my guilty feelings. The whore's pocket-marked cheeks made pretty, but the makeup is just like the ugly actions I am disguising with fine word. What a terrible guilt I feel. I hear him coming. Quick, let's hide, my lord. Claudius and Polonius hide. Hamlet enters. The question is it better to be alive or dead? Is it nobler to put up with all the nasty things that luck throws your way? Or to fight against all of those troubles by simply putting an end to them once and for all? Dying, sleeping, that's all dying is. A sleep that ends all the headaches and shocks that life on earth gives us. That's an achievement to wish for, to die, to sleep, to sleep. To sleep, maybe to dream. But there's the catch. In death's sleep, who knows what kind of dream might come after we put the noise and commotion of life behind us. That's certainly something to worry about. That's the consideration that makes us stretch out our suffering so long. After all, who would put up with all life's humiliations, the abuse from superiors, the insults of arrogant men, the pangs of unrequited love, the inefficacy of the legal system, the rudeness of people in office, and the mistreatment good people have to take from bad? When you could simply take out your knife and call it quits, who would choose to grunt and sweat through an exhausting life unless they were afraid of something dreadful after death? The undiscovered country from which no visitors return, which we wonder about without getting any answers from, and which makes us stick to the evils we now rather rush off to seek the ones we don't. Fear of death makes us all cowards, and our natural boldness becomes weak with too much thinking. Actions that should be carried out at once get misdirected and stop being actions at all. But shh, there comes the beautiful Ophelia. Pretty lady, please remember me when you pray. Hello, my lord. How have you been doing lately? Very well, thank you. Well. My lord, I have some mementos of yours that I've been meaning to give back to you for a long time now. Please take them. No, it wasn't me. I never gave you anything. My lord, you know very well that you did, and wrote letters to go along with them. Letters so sweetly written that they made your gifts even more valuable. Their perfume is gone now, so take them back. Nice gifts lose their value when the givers turn out not to be so nice. There, my lord. Haha, are you good? Excuse me, are you beautiful? My lord, what are you talking about? I'm just saying that if you're good and beautiful, your goodness should have nothing to do with your beauty. But could beauty be related to anything better than goodness? Sure, since beauty's powers can easily change a good girl into a whore, then the power of goodness can change a beautiful girl into a virgin. This used to be a great puzzle, but now I've solved it. I used to love you. You certainly made me believe you did, my lord. You shouldn't have believed me, since we're all rotten at the core. No matter how hard we try to be virtuous, I don't love you. Then I guess I was misled. Get yourself to a convent at once. Why would you want to give birth to more sinners? I'm fairly good myself, but even so, I could accuse myself of such horrible crimes that it would have been better if my mother had never given birth to me. And I am arrogant, vengeful, ambitious, and with more ill will in me than I can fit into my thoughts, and more than I have time to carry out in. Why would people like me be crawling around between earth and heaven? Every one of us is a criminal. Don't believe any of us. Hurry to your convent. Where's your father? He's at home, my lord. Lock him in, so he can play the fool in his own home only. Goodbye. Oh God. Please help him. If you marry, I will give you this curse as your wedding present. Be as clean as ice, and as pure as the driven snow, and you'll still get a bad reputation. Get yourself to a coven at once. Goodbye. Or if you have to get married, marry a fool, since wise men know far too well that you'll cheat on them. Goodbye. Dear God, please make him normal again. I've heard all about you women and your cosmetics too. God gives you one face, but you paint another on top of it. You dance and prance in lips. You call God's creations by pet names, and you excuse your sexpot ploys by pleading arrogance. Come on. I won't stand for it anymore. It's driven me crazy. I hereby declare we all have no more marriage. Whoever is already married, except one person I know, will stay married. All but one person. Everyone else will have to stay single. Get yourself to a coven fast. Hamlet exits. Oh, how noble his mind used to be, and how lost he is now. He used to have a gentleman's grace, a scholar's wit, and a shoulder strength. He used to be the jewel of our country, the obvious heir to the throne, the one everyone admired and imitated, and now he has fallen so low. And of all, the miserable woman who once enjoyed hearing his sweet, seductive words, I am the most miserable. A mind that used to sing so sweetly is now completely out of tune, making harsh sounds instead of fine tunes. The unparalleled appearance and nobility he had in full bloom of his youth has been ruined by madness. Oh, how miserable I am to see Hamlet now and know what was before. Claudius and Polonius come forward. Love, his feelings still move in that direction, and his words, although they were a little disorganized, weren't crazy. No, this sadness is hatching something, like a hen does sitting on an egg. What hatches very well may be dangerous. So, to prevent any harm being done, I have made a quick executive decision. He'll be sent to England to try to get back the money they owed us. With any luck, the sea and new countries will push out those feelings that have somehow taken root in his mind. What do you think of this plan? It should work, but I still believe that his madness was caused by unrequited love. I love Ophelia. You don't have to tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard everything. My lord, do whatever you like, but if you like this idea, let his mother, the queen, get him alone and beg him to share his feelings with her. I'll hide and listen in. If she can't find out what this secret is, then send him off to England or whatever you think is best. That's how we'll do it, then. When important people start to show signs of insanity, you have to watch them closely. They all exit. So that was the end of Act 1. Act 3, Scene 2. Hamlet and the players enter. Perform the speech just as I taught you, musically and smoothly. If you exaggerate the words the way some actors do, I might as well have some new caster read the lines. Don't use too many hand gestures. Just do a few, gently like this. When you get into a whirlwind of passion on the stage, remember to keep the emotions moderate and smooth. I hate it when I hear blustery actors in a wig tearing passion to shreds, bursting everyone's eardrums so as to impress the audience on a lower levels of the playhouse, who for the most part can only appreciate loud noises and pantomime shows. I would whip a guy for making a tyrant sound too tyrannical. That's as bad as those old plays in which King Harold ranted. Please avoid doing that. I will, sir. But don't be too tame either. Let your good sense guide you. Fit the action to the word, and the word to the action. Act natural. At all costs, exaggerate has no place in the theater, where the purpose is to represent reality, holding a mirror up to virtue, to vice, and to the spirits of the times. If you handle this badly, it just makes arrogant people laugh, while regular theater goers are miserable, and they're the ones you should be keeping happy. I've seen actors who are highly praised, but who, not to be too rude here, can't even talk or walk like human beings. They bellow and strut about like wild animals that were made to look like men, but very badly. I hope we've corrected that fault pretty well in our company, sir. Oh, corrected completely. Make sure that the clowns do not ad-lib, since some of them will make certain dumb audience members laugh mindlessly at them. While an important issue in the play needs to be addressed, it's bad behavior for an actor. Anyway, and displays a pitiful ambition to hog the limelight on the stage. The players exit. Polonius and Guildenstern and Rosencrantz enter. So, my lord, will the king be attending the performance? Yes, he will, and the queen as well. Tell the actors to hurry. Polonius exits. Will you two help them get ready? Rosencrantz. Yes, my lord. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern exit. Well, hello there, Haretto. Haretto enters. Here I am at your service, my dear lord. Haretto, you're the best man I've ever known. Oh, sir. Don't think I'm flattering you. What could I hope to get from you, who's got nothing but your charm to support you in life? Why would anyone flatter a poor person? No, keep flattery for kissing the hands of those who can pay well. You understand. Ever since I've been a free agent in my choice of friends, I have chosen you because you take everything life hands you with a calm acceptance, graceful for both good and bad. Blessed are those who mix emotions with reason, in just the right proportion, making them strong enough to resist the whims of Lady Luck. Show me the person who's master of his emotions, and I'll put him close to my heart. In my heart of hearts, as I do you. But I'm talking too much. The point is, there's a play being performed for the king tonight. One of the scenes come very close to depicting circumstances of my father's death, as I describe them to you. Watch my uncle carefully when that scene begins. If his guilty secret does not reveal itself, then the ghost was just a devil, and my hunch wasn't, in fact, worth anything. Watch him closely. I'll stare at him too, and afterwards, we'll compare notes on him. My lord, I'll watch him as closely as I would a thief. I won't miss a trick. Trumpets play. Claudius enters with Gertrude, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and other lord attendants with Claudius guards carrying torches. They're coming. I can't talk now. Take your seat. So, how's my nephew Hamlet doing? Wonderful. I ate the air. Like chameleons do. I am positively stuffed with air. I ate so much of it. I have no idea what you're talking about, Hamlet. You're not answering my question. Mine neither. My lord, you performed an amateur dramatic production in college, right? Indeed I did, my lord. I was considered to be quite a good actor. What role did you play? I played Julius Caesar. I was killed in the Capitol. Brutus killed me. That was brutish of them to kill so capital a man, a guy. Are the actors ready? Yes, my lord. They're ready whenever you are. Come here, my dear Hamlet. Sit by me. No thanks, my good mother. There is a nicer piece of work right here. He sits down near Ophelia. To Claudius. Hey, did you notice that? My lady, would I lie in your lap? No, my lord. I mean with my head in your lap. Yes, my lord. Did you think I was talking about sex? I think nothing, my lord. That's a good thought to lie between a girl's legs. What is, my lord? Nothing. You're in a good mood tonight, my lord. Yeah, me? Yes, my lord. Oh God. This is, by the way, the best comic of them all. What can you do but be happy? Look how cheerful my mother is. Only 2 hours after my father's dad died. No, my lord, it's been 4 months. As long as that, well, in that case, these morning clothes can go to hell. I'll get myself a fur-trimmed suit. Good heavens, he died 2 months ago, and hasn't been forgotten yet. In that case, there is reason to hope a man's memory may outlive him by 6 months. But he got to build churches for that to happen, my lady, or else he'll have to put up with being forgotten. Like the hobby horse in the popular song that goes, Nay ho, the hobby horse is forgotten. Trumpets play. The pantomime show begins. The king and queen enter and embrace lovingly. She kneels before him and resists his passion. He lifts her up and lays his head on her neck. He lies down on a bank of flowers. When she sees him sleeping, she leaves. Another man comes in, takes the crown from the king, pours poison in the sleeping man's ear, and leaves. The queen returns and finds the king dead. She becomes hysterical. The killer comes back with 3 others and calms the queen. The body is carried away. The killer woos the queen with gifts. She is cold towards him for a while, but then relents and accepts his advances. The players exit. The players exit. What does this mean, my lord? This means we're having some mischievous fun. This pantomime was probably a summary of the play. The prologue. The actor who will introduce the play enters. This guy will tell us everything. Actors can't keep a secret. They'll tell all. Well, oh wait, will he tell us what the pantomime meant? Sure, or anything else you show him. As long as you aren't ashamed to show it. He won't be ashamed to tell you what it means. You're naughty. I'm watching the play. We beg you most courteously to be patient with us and watch our humble tragedy. The prologue ends. The prologue exits. Was that the prologue or the inscription on some wedding ring? It was a bit short, my lord. Yes, as short as a woman's love. Actors playing the role as king and queen enter. It's been 30 years since we were married. I hope we stay in love for 30 more years. But I'm sad. I've been so gloomy lately, so unlike your usually cheerful self. That I worrisome? Something is wrong. But don't let this upset you, since women are too afraid. In love, for them, love and fear go hand in hand. You know very well how much I love you, and my fear is just as deep. When someone's love is great, the little worries become very big. So when you see someone whose worries a lot about little things, you know they're really in love. My love, I will have to leave you soon. My body is growing weak, and I will leave you behind in this beautiful world, honored and much loved. Perhaps you will find another husband. Oh, damn everyone else. Remarrying would be treason to my heart. Curse me if I take a second husband. When a woman takes a second husband, it's because she killed off the first. Harsh. Someone might marry a second time for money, but never for love. Anytime I kiss my second husband in bed, I'd kill the first one all over again. I know that's what you think now, but people change their minds. Often our intentions are strong at first, but as time goes on, they weaken, just like an apple sticks to the tree when it is unripe, but fallen to the ground once it ripens. The promises we make to ourselves in emotional moments lose their power once the emotion passes. Great grief and joy may lose us to action, but when the grief or joy have passed, we are no longer motivated to act. Joy turns grief in the blink of an eye, and grief becomes joy just as quick. This world is not made for either one to last long in, and it's no surprise that even our love changed along with our luck. It's still a mystery to be solved, whether luck controls love or love controls luck. When a great man has a run of bad luck, which have followers desert him, and when a poor man advances to an important position, he makes friends with the people he used to hate. Love is unreliable. A person with lots of money will always have friends, while one fallen on hard time makes an enemy of any friend he turns to for money. But back to my original point. What we want and what we get are always at odds. We can have our little dreams, but the fates decide our futures. You think now you'll never remarry, but that thought will die with me, your first husband. May the earth refuse me food and heavens go dark. May I have no rest day and night. May my trust and hope turn to despair. May the gloom of a prison overtake me, and may my every joy be turned to sorrow. May I know no peace either in this life or the next one if I become a wife again after I am widowed. Nice vow, but what if she breaks it? You have made this vow with deep sincerity, my dear. Leave me alone now a while. My mind is getting foggy, and I would like to sleep and escape this endless day. The player king sleeps. Sleep tight, and may nothing come between us. The player queen exits. Madam, how are you liking this play? The lady's overdoing it, I think. Oh, she'll keep her word. Do you know the plot? Is there anything offensive in it? No, it's just a joke, a little jab, only good fun, not offensive at all. What's the play called? The Mousetrap. Why on earth is it called that, you ask? It's a metaphor. The play is about a murder committed in Vienna. Gonzago is the Duke's name, and his wife, Batissa. You'll see soon enough, it's a piece of garbage, but who cares? You and I have free souls, and so it doesn't concern us. Let the guilty wins. We can watch without being bothered. Lucanus enters. This is Lucanus, the king's nephew in the play. You're an expert commentator, aren't you? Yes. I should even supply the dialogue between you and your lover if you did your little puppet show of love for me. Oh, you're sharp. Yes, pointly. But you would take the edge off me, though it might make you moan a little. You get better in your jokes and worse in your manners. And that's what you women get when you trick us into marriage. Let's get started. Murder on stage, please. Damn it. Stop fussing with the makeup and get going. We're all waiting for the revenge. Evil thoughts, ready hands, the right position, the right poison, and the time is right too. The dark night is on my side, for no one can see me. You deadly mixture of weed and plants, which Digiko, the goddess of witchcraft, has put a spell on. Use your magic to steal this healthy person's life away. Pours the poison into the player king's ear. You see, he poisons the king in his own garden to get the kingdom for him. Oh, to get the kingdom for himself. The king's name is Gonzago. The original story was written in the finest Italian. You see shortly how the murderer wins the love of Gonzago's wife. Claudius stands up. The king is getting up. What? Is he scared of a gun that only fired a blank? My lord, how are you feeling? Stop the play. Turn on the lights. Get me out of here. Lights, lights. Get us some lights. Everyone except Hamlet or Rito exits. Let the deer that's been shot go off and weep, while the unharmed deer happily plays. For some must watch, while others must sleep. That's how the world goes. Don't I get work as an actor if I hit and run bad luck in some acting companies and wear flowers on my shoes? They might even give you half a share of the company. No, a whole share for me. For you know, my dearest Damon, that Jove, king of the gods, was thrown out of power here. And who's in charge? The big peacock. You could have at least rhymed. Oh, Harito, I bet your $1,000 the ghost was right. Did you notice? Yes, I did, my lord. When the actors were talking about poison, I watched him very closely. Aha! Hey, let's have some music here. Play your flutes. Or if the king doesn't like the play, then he doesn't like it. We may say. Come on, music. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern enter. My lord, could I have a word with you? You can have a whole story, not just a word. Sir, the king. Yes, what about him? He's in his chambers now, and he's extremely upset. What, an upset stomach? From too much booze? No, sir, he's angry. You should be smart enough to tell this to a doctor and not me, since if I treated him, he'd just get angrier. My lord, please try to stick to the subject at hand. I'll be good, sir. Go ahead. The queen, your mother, is upset and sent me to see you. It's lovely to see you. No, my lord, your polite words are not to the point. If you could please stop fooling around, I'll tell you what your mother wants. If not, I'll leave you alone, and that'll be the end of my business. Sir, I can't. Can't what, my lord? Stop fooling around. My mind is confused, but I'll do my best to give you a straight answer. As you wish, or rather, as my mother wishes. Okay, to the point. My mother, you say? She says that your behavior has astounded her. Oh, what a wonderful son. I can impress my mother. But what's the upshot of her admiration, do tell? She wants to have a word with you in her bedroom before you go to bed. I'd obey even if she were my mother 10 times over. Is there anything else I could do for you? My lord, you used to like me. And still do. I swear by my hands. My lord, what's wrong with you? You're not doing yourself any good by refusing to tell your friends what's bothering you. Sir, I have no future ahead of me. But how can you say that when the king himself says you're the heir to the Danish throne? The players enter with recorders. Yes, eventually, but as the proverb goes, while the grass grows. Ah, that's a tired old proverb. Oh, the recorders. Let me see one. He takes a recorder and turns to Guildenstern. Why are you hovering so close? As if you want to ambush me. Oh, my lord, I'm sorry if I've forgotten my manners. I'm just that I'm worried about you. I don't really understand what you mean. Will you play this recorder? I can't, my lord. Please. I'm serious, I can't. I'm begging you. I have no idea how. Oh, it's as easy as lying. Just put your fingers and thumb over the hole and blow into it. It'll produce the most moving music. Here, the holes are here. But I can't play a melody. I don't know how. Well, look how you play me, as if you knew exactly where to put your fingers to blow the mystery out of me, playing all the activities of my range, and yet you can't even produce music from this little instrument. My god, do you think I'm easier to manipulate than a pipe? You can push my buttons, but you can't play me for a fool. Polonius enters. Hello, and God bless you, sir. My lord, the queen wants to speak with you right away. Do you see that cloud up there that looks like a camel? My god, it does look like a camel. To me, it looks like a weasel. It does have a back like a weasel's, or like a whale. Yeah, it's very much like a whale. I'll go see my mother soon. They're trying as hard as they can to mess with me. I will go soon. I'll tell her. It's easy enough to say soon. Polonius exits. Now please, leave me alone, my friends. Everyone except Hamlet exits. This is the time of night when the witches come out, when graveyards yawn open, and the stench of hell seeps out, like we drink hot blood and do such terrible deeds, that people would tremble even in the daylight. But I've got to go see my mother. Oh, heart, don't grow weak, like Nero, let me be cruel, but not inhumane. I'll speak as sharp as a dagger to her, but I won't use one on her, and so my words and thoughts will be at odd. Hamlet exits. So that was the end of scene 2. So now we're on to scene 3. Claudius, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern enters. I don't like the way he's acting, and it's not safe for me to let his insanity get out of control. So get prepared. I'm sending you to England on diplomatic business, and Hamlet will go with you. As king, I cannot risk the danger he represents, as he grows crazier by the hour. We'll take care of it, and it's a sacred duty to protect the lives of all of those who depend on your highness. Everyone tries to avoid harm, but the public figure demands even more protection. When a great leader dies, he doesn't die alone, but like a whirlpool draws others with him. And he's like a huge wheel on top of the highest mountain, whose whose spokes touch the rim of 10,000 smaller things. When it falls down the mountain, every little object goes down with it. Whenever a king sighs, everyone groans. Prepare yourself, please, for this trip. We'll put a leash on this danger that's now running wild. We'll hurry. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern's exit. Polonius enters. My lord, Hamlet's going to his mother's room. I'll hide behind the tapestry to hear what they say. I bet she'll chew him out. And as you said, and you said it wisely, it's good to have someone other than a mother listening in on them, since she can't be too partial to him. And goodbye, my lord. I'll stop by before you go to bed and tell you what I've heard. Thanks, my dear lord. Polonius exits. Oh, my crime is so rotten. It stinks all the way to heaven. It has the mark of hang on it. A brother's murder. I can't pray, though I want to desperately. My guilt is stronger even than my intentions, and like a person with two opposite things to do at once, I stand paralyzed and neglected them both. So what if this cursed hand of mine is coated with my brother's blood? Isn't there enough rain in the heaven to wash it clean as snow? Isn't that what God's mercy is for? And doesn't prayer serve those two purposes? To keep us from sinning and to bring us forgiveness when we have sinned? So I'll pray. I've already committed my sin. Oh, what kind of prayer is there for me? Dear Lord, forgive me for my horrible murder. That won't work, since I'm still reaping the reward of that murder. My crown and my queen. Can a person be forgiven and still keep the fruits of his crime? In this wicked world, criminals often take the money they stole and use it to buy off the law, shoving justice aside. And now in heaven, but not in heaven. Up there, every action is judged for exactly what it's worth, and we're forced to confront our crimes. So, what can I do? What is there left to do? Offer whatever repentance I can. That couldn't hurt, but it can't help either. Oh, what a lousy situation I'm in. My heart is black as death. My soul is stuck to sin, and the more it struggles to break free, the more it sticks. Help me, angels. Come, make an effort. Bend stubborn knees. Steely heart, but soft as a newborn babe, so I can pray. Perhaps everything will turn out okay after all. He kneels. Hamlet enters. I could do it easily now. He's praying now, and now I'll do it. He draws out his sword, and there he goes, off to heaven, and that's on revenge. And I better think about this more carefully. A villain kills my father, and I, my father's only son, send his same villain to heaven. Seems like I just did him a favor. He killed my father when my father was enjoying life, with all his sins in full bloom, before my father could repent for any of them. Only God knows how many sins my father has to pray for. As for me, I don't think this prospect looks so good. So, is it really revenge for me if I kill Claudius right when he is confessing his sins, in perfect condition for a trip to heaven? No. Away, sword, and wait for a better moment to kill him. He puts his sword away. When he's sleeping off some drunken orgy, or having incestuous sex, or swearing while he gambles, or committing some other act that has no goodness about it. That's when I'll trip him up and send him to hell, with his knees kicking up at heaven. My mother's waiting. The king's trying to cure himself with prayer, but all he's doing is keeping himself alive a little longer. Hamlet exits. My words fly up towards heaven, but my thoughts stay down here on earth. Words without thoughts behind them will never make it to heaven. Claudius exits. Wait, is this the... Okay, yes, so that was... That's the... Okay, so now we're up to Act 4. No, not Act 4. Act 3, Scene 4. Gertrude and Polonius enters. He'll come right away. Make sure you lay on into him. Tell him his pranks have caused too much trouble, and that your highness has taken a lot of heat for them. I'll be right here, silent. Please be blunt with him. Off the stage, mother. Don't worry, I'll do what you say. Now hide, I hear him coming. Polonius hides behind the tapestry. Hamlet enters. Now, Mother, what's this all about? Hamlet, you've insulted your father. Mother, you've insulted my father. Come on, you're irritating me foolishly. Go on, you're questioning me evilly. Hamlet, why? What's the problem now? Have you forgotten who I am? For God's sake, no, I haven't. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and you are my mother, though I wish you weren't. In that case, I'll call in others who can still speak. No, sit down. You won't budge until I hold the mirror up to you, where you see what's deep inside you. What are you going to do? You won't kill me, will you? Help! From behind the tapestry. Hey, help! What's this, a rat? I bet a buck. He's a dead rat now. He stabs his sword through the tapestry and kills Polonius. From behind the tapestry. Oh, I've been killed. Oh my God, what have you done? I don't know. Is it the king? Oh, what a senseless, horrible act. A horrible act? Almost as bad, my good mother, as killing a king and marrying his brother. Killing a king? That's what I said, my good woman. He pulls back the tapestry and discovers Polonius. You low-life, nosy, buzzy-body fool, goodbye. I thought you were somebody more important. You've gotten what you deserve. I guess you found out it's dangerous to be a busybody. To Gertrude. Stop wringing your hands. Sit down and let me wring your heart instead, which I will do if it's still soft enough. If your evil lifestyle has not toughened it against feeling anything at all. What have I done that you dare to talk to me so rudely? The deed that destroys modesty, turns virtue into hypocrisy, replaces the blossom on the face of true love with a nasty blemish, makes marriage vow as fall as a gambler's oath. Oh, you've done a deed that plucks the soul out of marriage and turns religion into meaningless blather. Heaven looks down on this earth as angry as if Judgment Day were here, and is sick at the thought of what you've done. Come on, what is deed that sounds so awful, even before I know what it is? Look at this picture here, and that one there. The painted images of two brothers. Look how kind and gentlemanly this one is, with his curly hair and his forehead like a Greek god. His eyes could command like the god of war. His body is as agile as Mercury, just landing on a high hill. A figure and combination of good qualities that seem like every god has set this stamp on this man. That was your husband. Now look at this other one. Here is your present husband, like a mildew ear of corn, infecting the healthy one next to it. Do you have eyes? How could you leave the lofty heights of this man here and descend as low as this one? Ha! Do you have eyes? You cannot say you did it out of love, since at your age, romantic passions have grown weak, and the heart obeys reason. But what reason could move you from this one to that one? You must have some sense in your head, since you're able to get around. But it seems to be paralyzed, since even if you were crazy, you would know the difference between these two men. No one even went so insane that they couldn't get an easy choice like this one, right? What devil was it that blindfolded you? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smell without anything else. The use of even one impaired sense could not permit such a mistake as yours. Oh, for shame! Why aren't you blushing? If evil can overtake even an old mother's bone, then let it melt my own. It turns out it's no longer shameful to act on impulse, now that the old are doing so, and now that reason is a servant to desire. Oh, Hamlet, stop! You're making me look into my very soul, where the marks of sin are so thick and black, they will never be washed away. Yes, you lie in the sweaty stench of your dirty sheets, wet with corruption, making love. Oh, you must stop. Your words are like daggers. Please, no more, sweet Hamlet. A murderer and a villain, a lowlife who's not worth a 20th of a tenth of your first husband, the worst of kings, a thief of the throne, who took the precious crown from a shelf and put it in his pocket. Stop! A ragtag king. The ghost enters. Oh, angels in heaven, protect me with your wings. What could I do for you, my gracious lord? Oh no, Hamlet's gone completely crazy. Have you come to scold your tardy son for striving from his mission, letting you important command slip by? Tell me. Don't forget, I've come to sharpen your somewhat dull appetite for revenge. But look, your mother is in shock. Oh, keep her struggling soul from being overwhelmed by horrid visions. The imagination works strongest in those with the with the weakest body. Dr. Hamlet. How are you doing, madam? And how are you doing, staring into the empty air and talking to nobody? Your eyes give away your wild thoughts, and your hair is standing upright, like soldiers during a call to arms. Thank you so much for the hydrate and snack blanket. Okay, let's see here. Your eyes give away your wild thoughts, and your hair is standing upright like soldiers during a call to arms. Oh, my dear son, calm yourself and cool off your overheated mind. What are you staring at? Look at at him! Look how pale he is, and how he glares at me, aching even at stones. He could get them to act. Don't look at me like that, unless you want me to cry instead of kill. Who are you talking to? You don't see anything? Nothing at all, but I can see everything that's here. And you don't hear anything. No, nothing but us talking. Look, how he's sneaking away. My father dressed like he was when he was alive. Look, he's going out the door right now. The ghost exits. This is just a fragment of your imagination. Madness is good at creating hallucinations. Madness? My heart beats just as evenly as yours does. There's nothing crazy in what I've just uttered. Put me to the test. I'll rephrase everything I've just said, but a lunatic couldn't do. Mother, for the love of God, don't flatter yourself into believing that it's my madness, not your crime, that's the problem. You'll just be concealing the rot that's eating you from the inside. Confess your sins to heaven, repent and avoid damnation. Don't spread manner over the weed in your heart. It'll only make them more filthy. Forgive me my good intentions here, since in these fart and spoiled times, virtuous people have to say, beg your pardon to vile ones, and beg for the chance to do any good. Oh, Hamlet, you've broken my heart in two. Then throw away the worst half, and live a purer life with the other. Good night to you, but don't go to my uncle's bed tonight. At least pretend to be virtuous, even if you're not. Habit is a terrible thing, and that it's easy to get used to doing evil without feeling bad about it. But it's also a good thing, and that being good can also become a habit. Say no to sex tonight, and that will make it easier to say no the next time, and still easier the time after that. Habits can change even one's natural instincts, and either ruin the devil in us or kick him out. Once again, good night to you, and when you want to repent, I'll ask you for your blessings too. I'm sorry about what happened to this gentleman, but God wanted to punish me with this murder, and this man with me, so I am both heaven's executioner and its minister of justice. This is bad, but it'll get worse soon. Oh, and one other thing, madam. What do I do? Whatever you do, don't do this. Let the fat king seduce you into his bed again, so he can pinch your cheeks, call you his bunny, and with filthy kisses and a massage of your neck with his damned fingers, make you admit that my madness is fake or calculated. What a great idea that would be, because why would a fair, sober, wise queen hide such things from a toad, a pig, a monster like him? Who would do that? No, it's much better to spill the beans right away. Let the cat out of the bag and break your neck in the process. You can rest easy, since words are made of breath, and breathing requires that you be alive. I feel too dead to breathe a word of what you've told me. I have to go to England, don't you know that? Ah, I've forgotten all about that. It's been decided. Yes, it's a done deal. Documents are ready, and my two schoolmates, whom I trust about as much as rattlesnakes, are in charge. They're the last ones who lead me on my march to mischief. Let it happen. It's fun to watch the engineer get blown up by his own explosions. And with any luck, I'll drag a few feet below their bombs and blow them to the moon. Now, it's nice to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now that I've killed this guy, I'll be off in a hurry. I'll lug this gut into the next room. Mother, have a good night. This politician, who was, in life, a blabbering idiot, is now quiet and serious. Come on, sir. Let's get to the end of our business. Good night, Mother. They exit, Hamlet dragging Polonius off stage. Okay. That was the end of Act 3. And this is where I'm going to stop for the stream for today. We could probably continue this either Saturday or maybe Sunday.